Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be taking a look at the Streamplify CAM, a Full HD 1080p 60 frames per second webcam with a pretty competitive price tag, security features and also automatic focus. Keep watching to find out more. Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be taking a look at the Streamplify CAM. This is a German designed webcam from the people over at Streamplify. This is actually part of a kit which they've kindly sent us free of charge for review purposes, which you're probably seeing for some B-roll now. There will be links for all this in the video description if you want to check out for yourself. They've sent it across and asked me to test it, see what I think, give it a fair run and compare it against other options and basically see what I think. So this has actually got some really cool features to it, as we'll find out as we go through the unboxing. There will obviously be some testing later on as well, and we will be comparing this against Logitech C920, which at the time of filming is a very similar price competitor and with a very similar set of features. Speaking of features, let's have a quick run through them. So as you can see on the front of the box there, so it's Full HD, so we're looking at 1080p. Also supports up to 60 frames per second, so obviously if you want to use it for faster paced things, you certainly can do, although if you want to, you can reduce it down to less than that, so 35 or 25 frames per second if you want to try and get it to fit in with other footage that you're filming. Also has autofocus built in, which you've probably seen from the intro, and the autofocus actually seems to work very well in my opinion. I've only had a very limited exposure to this at the moment, excuse the pun, but actually it does seem to do a pretty decent job, so yeah, that is definitely a step up. A lot of the time you find that webcams, although they say they have autofocus, it's pretty awful and doesn't work particularly well. Or some of the cheaper models, well actually some of the more expensive ones even, have manual focus, which you don't always know until you actually plug it in and you start moving around and realise that you're just completely out of focus, which won't be a problem with this device. Also, you've got a 90-degree field of vision, so again, depending on what you want to do, if you want to get nice and close up and just have a full face shot, no problem at all. Although if you want to have it a little bit further back and get a wider shot, maybe if you're a streamer, YouTuber, that kind of thing, or maybe you're just trying to do some online teaching or Zoom calls, all that kind of stuff, all those options are completely supported. Some other cool features of note are things such as the privacy shield. So there is a sliding privacy shield which will cover both the microphone and also the glass covered lens, which is something to actually be quite impressed by. Actually having a piece of glass over the lens is far more preferable than having plastic. Plastics do tend to deteriorate over time and also don't have the clarity of glass. And you will see from the image quality later on, the image quality on this is pretty spectacular. Even though you're probably watching this at 4K, this is 1080p, so we're actually upscaling from 1080p to 4K and it still looks really sharp. On the back of the box, it goes through some of the specifications, so I'll leave those on the screen for you now so you can check it out for yourselves. Essentially, pretty much runs through exactly what I've just said, the various options for sizes of image, all that kind of good stuff. So let's take a look and see what we actually get inside the packaging. So you get a quick start guide, which, to be honest with you, it's pretty much a waste of paper. Literally, all the drivers are built into Windows, so it's just a matter of plugging in the USB Type A cable, of which this is a 2-meter long cable, so nice and long there. Plug it into your system and it will just recognize it. It's got the kind of universal plug and play thing going on, so it'll work in things like Microsoft Camera, OBS, Zoom calls, Skype, etc, etc, WebEx from Cisco, all those types of things. No software needed whatsoever, which is absolutely brilliant. And again, for streaming purposes, if you're using OBS, that type of thing, it just appears as a video source. So if you are a little bit of a novice and you're not used to setting up cameras, you may find it considerably more easy. One thing I will note though, when you do plug it in for the first time, for some reason it does default to the 4:3 aspect ratio. So in order to get it to do 16:9 or 1080p, you will need to go into the settings and just change it from the device default. Seems to be a very common thing with most webcams, they all seem to do it. Logitech certainly do, but yeah, just thought I'd make you aware of that. So if you get it, plug it in and you're getting a 4:3 ratio, just go and change it to 16:9, it'll be absolutely fine. So quick start guide we get. Also, there is an included tripod. This is absolutely fine. It's a relatively lightweight device, so you don't really need anything too massive. You can, of course, if you want to, put it on a regular tripod. It does use a standard 1/4 inch thread, but this is actually fine. I did actually find that this has got a really nice ball head to it and does stay in place very well with this grub screw on the side. The legs just fold out, don't lock into position, but that's absolutely fine. Again, depending what sort of place you're on, it's going to be okay. Something I didn't notice at first as well is this is actually extendable as well, so you can actually pull the legs out just to give you a little bit more height there should you need it. Depending where you're going to put this, realistically, it's probably going to be a bit on the small side unless you've got something like a shelf, or maybe you're going to stack it on some books or something if you're at home, or maybe if you're on a laptop, that sort of thing, you want to get a slightly different shot, put it to the side of your laptop on some books, be absolutely fine. The fact it's included in there is handy. Whether or not you'd want to use it full time, not entirely sure, but certainly it's handy to have. But for most people, you're probably just going to end up doing what a lot of us do, and that is just use the clamp, which is on here. So there's all rubberized, so you just clamp that onto the top of your monitor, as you're probably seeing from some B-roll shots. This is a very common way of mounting it. It is actually nice, the fact that even if your monitor isn't entirely straight on, it doesn't matter, because this top section does actually have a ball head mount, so you can twist that around over 360 degrees, so it just keeps on spinning around, so there's no electricity or anything going through there. And there is also a little bit of tilt on there as well, as you can see, so you can pretty much dial that in how you want to. Of course, because it's on the back of the monitor, you can, if you want to, kind of adjust this bit up and down to give you the right levels. Absolutely fine. Like I said, you've got a 2-meter cable on there, terminating a USB Type A. This is suitable for USB 2 and USB 3 connections. So depending on your PC, obviously if you want to plug it into a front panel connection, or if you've got a pass-through on your monitor, you maybe want to plug it into there. 1080p at 60 frames per second on this with a 2.1 megapixel camera is going to be fine over USB 2, so no issues there, and even slightly older laptops. So if you have an old company laptop and it's only got older USB ports, it's going to be absolutely fine. Moving up to the actual unit itself, so we do have a stereo microphone here. So there is actually a microphone on the side, and there's also one, if I open this up, there's one on there as well. So you've got dual stereo microphones, which actually they've done that in a really clever way. So even if you are particularly one-sided, it's still going to give you a stereo output. So it's kind of almost like a quad channel, but it mixes the 4 channels into 2 to give you perfect stereo, or as close to perfect. It doesn't give you that kind of depth as in stereo left to right, but it does make sure that all of the sound that is encompassed in the microphones comes through into the single channel. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. Like I said, you've got a glass section on there over the actual lens itself to protect it, and it is autofocus as well, which seems to work very well. I do like the slider, the privacy slider, so you just push that across and you can hear there's a defined click. So you can hear there is actually an electronic kind of click there to disable the microphone, both the visual and the audio, which is excellent. There is also a little LED which appears on the side, a little white LED, just to let you know that the unit is actually active, which is excellent. So yeah, overall, very good. It's pretty compact as well, and I actually think it looks pretty stylish with the Streamplify logo on the front there. So that's enough of taking a look at it. Let's see what the actual results are like, because obviously that is the most important bit. So let's get this set up and we'll be straight back. Okay, so we've got it set up, as you can probably see in the shot there, but this is actually going to look fine when we look over to the Streamplify CAM. The image is going to be looking absolutely fine, and this is quite a nice close-up. Quite a nice distance actually from the camera and also from the lens as well. Sorry, the microphones I should say, and I can see clearly the white LED is on to tell me that the camera is active, and we're currently recording this into just the Microsoft's built-in camera app, which seems to be doing absolutely fine. It's detected the camera and it's given a whole range of options of different types of image quality, all that kind of good stuff. Would have been nice to have seen a little bit of adjustment in there for audio gain, that type of thing. I think that is going to be the one thing where pretty much with most microphones they do fall over, in the fact that they're not that high gain. Because they're trying to pick up a lot of stuff, it's not going to be that accurate. It would be nice to have the microphones really pointing straight forward, maybe some sort of shotgun thing. Realistically, I think most people are probably going to use a webcam like this. If you're doing it for kind of semi-professional or just for gaming, that type of thing, when you're streaming, maybe if you're just down in the bottom corner of a screen whilst the game is running, it's going to be really good. It's going to give you nice crispy visuals. Audio-wise, most people are probably going to end up using a USB mic or possibly even a headset. But I think for just doing Skype calls, catching up with the family, all that kind of stuff, this is going to be absolutely fine. And also we did try this a little bit earlier, myself and Kath, over Discord, and it worked absolutely fine. The volume was a little bit on the low side, but certainly nothing we couldn't deal with by upping the levels slightly. But let me know what you think. This is the image quality, and actually we should do some autofocus testing. So let's put a box up in front of me, and then I'm going to move out of the way, and then we'll see if it will reacquire. The minimum focus distance of this is apparently about 7 centimeters, which is going to be hard for me to measure, but let's see if we put this in front, see if it will pick it up. And then we'll take it away and see if it reacquires focus, which essentially is what people are going to do. Maybe if you've got a YouTube channel like we have. Maybe you're doing product presentations and you want to show things off, so you're going to grab things and throw them in front of the camera, hoping that your camera is going to actually focus on them, and then you're going to take them away and then hopefully reacquire focus so you can talk to the camera. Anyway, I've whittled on for way too long. Hopefully this is looking pretty cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to get my Logitech C920 camera with exactly the same settings, because I've actually dialed this down to 30 frames per second currently, and we'll see how the two compare in terms of image and also audio. So let's do that next. Okay, so now we're on the Logitech. This is the C920. Exactly the same settings, so 1080p, 30 frames per second, not the 60 as we could have potentially had before. And the first thing actually which I noticed straight away is the fact that the device failed. It didn't get recognized by Windows, which, yeah, I had to unplug one of my other devices in order for the USB to actually recognize the fact that this was a Logitech camera, which is bizarre because actually I've used this camera with my live streams previously. And actually let's do some autofocus testing, see what it's like, see if it's hunting. So if I move forward and then move backwards a little bit, and then we'll do the product shot. So this is the box. Hopefully it's acquired focus, and then we'll go back to me. General sort of stuff again, see if it will pick up on something like this, which is quite small. Not sure if we actually did that previously or not. My short-term memory is awful. Anyway, so I can pretty much tell straight away, just looking at what I can see on the screen back there and at the corner of my eye there, that the image is nowhere near as good as quality. There's definitely seems to be some sort of odd hue to the image, whether or not it's just me viewing it from there or not, I don't know. But again, all the settings were exactly the same in the Microsoft Camera app. I'll let you guys be the deciders on that. And also I should point out as well the fact that I am actually using a separate tripod here because this one just wasn't high enough for my intended purposes. But again, that is the beauty of it. With pretty much all webcams these days, you can use anything due to that 1/4 inch mount on the bottom there. Okay, so we're back with the Streamplify CAM, which hopefully is doing a fantastic job of autofocusing. This is weird because I've got two cameras now and I'm getting really confused and my eyes might go a little bit derpy, but anyway, I digress. So definitely, obviously, yeah, the image quality, just looking behind me on the screen, immediately when I plugged it in. And speaking of which, plugging it in, I literally plugged it in, didn't close down the app or anything, literally unplugged my old camera, plugged in this one, and boom, straight away on the screen, I could see that it worked. So if you're just looking for something which just works, then this is definitely worth considering. I would say the image quality is definitely better. I'm going to need to really check this in the edit to see what happens. Clearly, this video is going to be released in 4K. This is a 1080p unit, so you are going to see some little bit differences there, but they will be exaggerated. So obviously, when it comes to 1080p, the difference is going to be slightly less noticeable, but anyway, it will give you a good idea so you can do some pixel peeping and seeing what is actually going on. Certainly, I think the color accuracy and the sharpness of the image on this is mind-blowing. It really is, considering literally both of those cameras are, in fact, I think the Logitech is potentially even a 3 megapixel camera, whereas this is 2.1 megapixels. Both 1080p, but just go to show it isn't always about the megapixels, it's about the actual image sensor and the quality of the glass. In this case, I think the Streamplify CAM wins in both regards. So let me know what you think about this one in the comments section below. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.